Hey everybody, this is Dennis and welcome to another episode of the Grounded Reason podcast. Today we're going to cover a question that I've been getting a lot lately, and that is, where can I find some affordable internet? Well, today we're going to go over some of the deals that are out there around the U.S. and one recent deal that is actually mandated by the FCC for Charter to give out. So you know that's going to be affordable. Staying on that topic of internet, a study was just released that shows what happens when some high-speed, affordable municipal internet goes into an area. So we'll get into that. And with the holiday coming up, I'll also cover some deals out there for everyone's favorite streaming services. All right, let's get to it. There's two things we really want to talk about today. One is I've been getting a lot of questions on the blog about, again, internet. Yeah, cutting the cord's great, but do you know of any cheap internet services?
Right.
So I have a list of a few that we can go over that are around the country. Surprisingly, Charter actually they were forced into a deal when because actually we can get to this in a bit. So I wanted to talk about that, and I also wanted to talk about some of with the holidays coming up, some of the deals and such that are out there for people, because they are running like these December deals.
Tis the season.
So a little bit of news. Time Warner, as you know, was recently gobbled up by AT&T, but before that deal, because that's just the media deal, they actually sold off their cable wing to Charter.
Yep.
So as part of that deal, the FCC basically said that you need to service, there's a couple like stipulations and requirements that need to happen for the deal for them to be accepted.
Normally things like that, you get like a couple divestitures or like little things like that, just to make sure that the market doesn't get too wonky.
Right. So one of the things they actually did was, now it's only for people above the age of 65 who are on SSI and families that are on the National School Lunch Program. Yep. So if you meet either one of those, then you can get 30 MIPS from Charter for $14.99 a month.
That's awesome.
That's really good. Yeah. And I really wish, and the funny thing is, the FCC wouldn't slap this on them if it was completely unprofitable for them.
No. I'm really surprised that, and I'm okay, reading tea leaves, so take it for what it's worth. But one or more than one of the big guys will jump on this at some point, right?
Hoping.
They just have to, right? Like, too much market share is starting to drift away.
Well,
right?
It is, but it's kind of consolidating into.
It is.
Now Charter, because Charter, after buying up Time Warner's share back in, I think it was May, it got approved. They have about 22 million. Comcast still has more than that, but not much more. It's almost on the cable.
Well, Verizon, we talked about it before. Verizon started to lose some because
they got
DSL
7. Right. Well, AT&T's got like 13 million and Verizon has 7 million.
Yeah.
So like when you're talking, and that's a huge chunk of the telecom piece right there. Because when you're talking on the cable side of the house, Charter and Comcast are almost at 50 million right there.
Yep.
And then there's a whole bunch of like smaller players in there. When I say smaller, like 4 or 5 million,
right?
But still, that's like they own. Comcast pretty much has almost a quarter of a little more than a quarter than all the broadband right now.
Well, and see, that's what this is scary, but I'm crossing my fingers. I'm rooting for Verizon in this one because I think it's going to stick in their craw the idea that they're going to lose people with the DSL lines that they're letting dry up.
Yeah.
And I'm really hoping that one of them, and I'm betting on Verizon doing it, actually goes, well, you know what, we're just going to do a straight internet service and see how many people we can get that way.
Yeah, I'm curious. Yeah, because like AT&T, it looks like they kind of I wouldn't say given up the ISP game. They're still in it, but they didn't when they made that investment in Time Warner, it looks like they're going more for a content slash, they're gonna have there'll be an ISP in bigger markets, but that was a huge investment in content.
I mean, the thing with it is the content market, right? Like, there's a lot of money in it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Time Warner had what? They have HBO. They have all the Turner. Is it? Do they have all the Turner stuff too?
I think they have Turner.
Yeah.
And they have some of the other big stuff.
TNT, CNN, and all that stuff, right?
Well, they also own all their movie properties.
Right. Yeah.
Like, so they've got some big assets there, right? And the other thing is, I mean, the nice thing about the content market, and I'm going to oversimplify here, but like, it's not like a technical infrastructure thing, right? Like, they don't need to reinvest in it. Once they've created the Game of Thrones franchise and it runs its course, what is it going to be, 8 seasons or something, I think, when it's done?
That's something like that.
Something like that. Those will run forever.
Right. It's
like,
evergreen content, pretty much.
It's just there. Keep running, and, it won't be as popular, but it'll still be pulling people in.
Oh, definitely. But getting back to Charter... I think that's where we started with this. Jeez. But so the $14.99 a month for those two groups, I mean, it's going to be, that's going to service quite a few people because, I mean, when you're talking about if they're servicing 22 million people, then I'm sure a bunch of people would fall in there.
I would think it's going to be, tens of thousands, if not hundreds.
Right. And if you're not in those disadvantaged groups I mentioned, then they still have no data cap, 100 MIPS for $40.
That's not bad at all.
No, I mean, I was really surprised to see this. So, I mean, and that's in New York City. I saw that they're going into that with New York City. I don't know if that's going to be, I don't know how targeted they are going to be across the country. But the New York City thing I saw was, $40 for 100 MIPS, which is really good.
Yeah. Love to see that down here in Baltimore.
Yeah, so I'm curious to see where, and then that is for 12 months. So I don't know if they get you. It depends on how they roll that contract. But that looks like it's a fair price. If you can get, I mean, like I said before, you really only need about 20-25 MIPS to cut the cord. So if you can get anywhere, above that or near that, and you're only paying like $40 or $50 a month,
it's well worth it.
It makes it like pretty much a no-brainer at that point. You have to be careful, as we said before. Watch all those little deals and add-ons they try to throw, like, oh, we'll give you network television, because they want to get that box in your house because they want you to count as a video subscriber.
Oh yeah, I mean, for anyone who didn't listen to it, we had a whole episode on the cable boxes themselves.
Right. Yeah, and how those cable boxes, even if you aren't getting cable channels on them, you're just getting network television, it counts as a cable subscriber. So they want to get one of those boxes in your house.
And it carries all sorts of fees with it.
That too. And usually it's in a 2-year program or 2-year contract, and they'll up you. They'll up your bill the next year.
I think it was by a full 100%. Like they double it, don't they?
Well, I mean, they double it from the promo price, but that's usually after you work out all the fees and everything. It seems to be kind of double over the 2-year span. At least that's usually where it falls based on the math that we did on that episode. I think that episode's called Cable Boxes and Corruption or something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah. Very ominous title. So, but staying on the topic of internet, because I do get the question a lot about folks want to know where they can find some affordable internet or, different areas of the country. Now, while I name some of these and I say it'll be available in some states, once you actually get into the state, it could vary from zip to zip. Because I have a page out there, and it's right off. It's a link right off the sidebar where it's like how to get internet without cable, and I ask people to leave comments if they see any deals or anything good out there. Right, and they'll put it in the comment, I'll look at it, and then I'll investigate it, and then I'll add it to the article. So it's kind of like a living, breathing document of stuff that's out there. And right now, I personally feel Verizon, now granted, you're only really in New York, New Jersey, Maryland, Virginia, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, and DC, and only areas within there, certain areas. They give you a year for $50. It's $50, 50 MIPS is kind of what you can get from them right now.
That's not bad.
No, it's doable. It works, so you can cut the cord with that. And I saw, of course, Google Fiber is now they've been switching it up. They have the gigabit system for $70.
Their big project was Chicago, right?
Yeah, that was they have a few out there. I mean, the gig, they give you a gigabit for $70, but that's you might not need that to cut the cord. But then they usually go down. I remember it in certain areas they were running 25 MIPS for $15, which is crazy. And then there was 100 MIPS for $50, which is really good. Which is
really, really good.
So I was looking around there, and they offer internet in Atlanta, Austin, Charlotte. Charlotte, North Carolina, Kansas City metro area, Missouri, and let's see, Nashville, Tennessee, Provo, Utah, and they just started rolling out in Salt Lake back.
Did the Chicago project get pushed back again?
It's there. I think they're still figuring it out.
Yeah, because they were trying to do, what's the technology set they were trying to do in Chicago?
Well, they were going to go there. I know they were experimenting with some of the millimeter wave technology that they've been messing with, but I don't know, because I know they're going to have a lot of trouble.
They haven't settled on it yet.
I haven't looked. I haven't checked back in a few weeks, so I'd have to look. But from last I heard is they were running into some slowdowns and some trouble. But yeah, so if you can get Google Fiber, I mean, that's great. Not only that, but Google is a company. Their business is advertising.
Yeah.
So this is almost they really just want people to be on the internet and have decent broadband, decent speed, so they can sell you their other part of their business.
Well, this is you and I have talked about this with Amazon and why I buy Amazon Kindles. Why everyone in my family has a Kindle Fire. Not because it's a superior device to an iPad or whatever, right? But because it's good bang for your buck, right?
Oh yeah, my kids
if one breaks, I don't cry, right?
Right.
It only cost me $100, and Amazon is selling.
No, I mean only $100, but still, when you're talking in the realm of devices that are running $400 and $500,
yeah. Well, I mean,
I just want to put some context there.
iPad,
I don't want the listener to be like, "Whoa,
well,
Joel's sitting there burning, burning wads of $100 bills."
Yeah, I'm not rolling around in $100 bills here. It's. I mean, an iPad, a good iPad, can easily get up in the $800 range.
If you have the top notch,
if you're getting really high end,
right,
and mediocre ones $400 to $500.
Exactly. Yeah, your entry level, I think, is in that spot.
And so is an iPad better than a Kindle Fire? Yeah, but is it 5 times better? I don't think so.
Probably not. And for your kid, they're not going to care.
Yeah,
unless they get their hands on an iPad.
I'm encasing that damn thing in rubber, anyways.
Oh, that's what. Yeah, we do.
Right?
I can bounce. It's like a super bounce ball. Yeah, I can throw this thing on the ground and it hits the roof.
I have not tried it, but it probably would work. But so my point with what you're talking about there is just it's all bang for your buck. Right. So.
And then now this isn't this is very kind of niche market as well. Well, not niche. It's like a targeted market. It's parts of New York, parts of New Jersey, Connecticut. Optimum Online. Actually, there's a few zips in Philadelphia. I mean, not Philadelphia, but Pennsylvania. Excuse me. They can get it's by Cablevision. It's called their Optimum Online Internet Service, and again, it's 60 MIPS for $50.
Not bad.
So, yeah, and that's really what I'm looking. I'm looking for, decent punch. $50 mark is probably that's really good, because once you get above $75-$80, your savings kind of go down a bit. Yeah, it's still a better deal, I think, than cable, but it's almost on par. I think it's a better deal because you can cancel anytime. You can juggle services and things like that. So,
you get increased flexibility with it.
Exactly.
But when you're talking, you can get viable internet service from anywhere from, $0 to $50. All of a sudden, that's a real economic value.
Yeah, it really, like I said, it's almost a no-brainer. I mean, really, because you can get all that content that you want. There isn't much that you can't get these days from different various services or a la carte, buying from Amazon and iTunes. So another one is, and this is, I don't even know the logistics of how this company works.
Which one's this?
DSL Extreme.
Oh, yeah.
Apparently, they lease a piece of AT&T's infrastructure and deal out. They deal out internet off of AT&T's infrastructure. So, but I mean, they have it, and the oddest pricing plans. But one thing I saw that would work, for the reason why I say this is because they tend to be in a lot of areas in the southern part of the country where there aren't a lot of options, but you can get 24 MIPS and their price is $52.95.
That is a quirky price.
It is a quirky price, but 24 MIPS it'll allow you to cut the cord.
It'll get it done.
Right. And I mean, if you go up to 45 MIPS, then it's $62.95. So, but if you're only talking about running, a couple streams simultaneously, because like I said, HD is 6 MIPS. Right. So 24 MIPS is plenty to handle it. If you have a gamer in the house, they might get annoyed, or you download a lot, all the time. If you're torrenting from torrent sites and downloading movies, then probably not for you. But if you just want to run, one or two streams to your house simultaneously, then
if you got someone watching Amazon Prime and someone watching Netflix,
no big deal.
You're probably good. Right.
And so, but the areas, they're in Alabama, Arkansas, parts of California, Florida, Georgia, Illinois, Indiana, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Michigan, Missouri, Mississippi, North Carolina, Nevada, Ohio, Oklahoma, South Carolina, Tennessee, Texas, and Wisconsin.
That's actually a lot of coverage.
It is. It's a lot because that's AT&T's area right there. So, I mean, and it's not all, you might call up, if you're one of the states, you might call up and they might say, sorry, we don't service you. But I'm just saying that those are the areas they operate. Those are the states they operate in.
Yeah. So, well, I mean, you talk Texas or even Wisconsin, those are big states.
Oh, yeah.
Right. You say Maryland and we only got so many zip codes, but, Texas is kind of a big place.
Yeah. And people are telling me about these smaller providers like this. And there's one called WOW! Exclamation point. Hold on, let me do that right. Sorry. Wow.
Right.
Internet. Yeah. Because there's an exclamation point there.
Yeah.
It's very hard to Google it.
You have to say it just like that.
Yeah, because I was trying to find it, and if you Google WOW! Internet, you get all kinds of stuff. People are, you get videos of people who are excited about the internet. But I went and researched it, and they're kind of what I like about them is they have a stick in it to the man feel to their website. They're really talking about providing reasonable broadband to people in this country, and you can tell because they're kind of putting their money where their mouth is, because they moved into Knoxville, Tennessee recently, offering 30 MIPS for $25 or 60 MIPS for $40.
That's not bad at all.
Yeah, so that's great.
And when you mentioned Knoxville, I was just curious, how do the municipal internet services factor in?
Well, see, that's interesting.
That's the gig is in Knoxville, right?
Chattanooga.
Oh.
Yeah, it's in Chattanooga. But it's you know what? Hold on one second, and I'll address that point, because an interesting article came up this week about that, actually. But WOW! Internet is in parts of South Carolina, as I said, Knoxville, Alabama, Kansas, Michigan, Indiana, Georgia, Florida, Illinois, and Ohio. And it's small parts of those areas.
Right.
So, but still, those are great prices. Yeah. I would look it up, see if they're in your area.
There's a lot of people that live in those states.
Right. And if you're out there and you're like, you have great internet, you're sitting on some great internet right now, and you're like, why didn't you talk about, X, Y, or Z? Just hop on groundedreason.com, and then you'll see internet without cable off on the right sidebar. Click it, leave a comment, and tell me about the service. I'll look into it and I'll put it into the article.
Seriously, it helps everybody out. It really is appreciated when you do that sort of thing.
Yeah. So getting back to what you were saying about municipal internet, there's a recent article by a guy I like. He writes over for DSL Reports, Carl Bodie. And I know you mentioned municipal, but you mentioned the gig as well.
Yeah.
He did a piece on gigabit broadband and what actually, he wrote an article on this study. The study was called it was by the Fiber to Home Council.
Okay.
And what they did is they wanted to see the effects of what does gigabit broadband bring when it comes to competing prices. Because there's a lot of these municipal internet, they're putting gigs in there because they're dropping fiber networks and they're putting gigabit networks in, and people who are against municipal internet, well, what are you going to do with a gig? Is kind of like, who needs that? And okay, fine, no one right now, but if you had a gig in a city and somebody comes up with some like brilliant app idea, it's innovation is really what. So that's one piece of it. Tangent's going to happen right now. I can feel the tangent coming.
Here it comes. So before you get into the real story, I will tell you the first computer I ever owned that was mine. We had other ones before that, but it was always a family one. But the first one I ever owned when I was a little kid was a 386 SX clone, like IBM clone.
Yeah, mine was a 286, the one right before that.
Yeah. And it had 40 meg, not gig, of memory.
No,
like hard drive space.
Hard drive, storage. Because I
had RAM.
Right.
Like hard drive.
Yeah, because I was like 40. That was crazy at the time because I remember we had like the best 286 you could get. Because it was it's the 386s came out, and then so the 286s got cheap. Yep. We were able to get a meg of RAM in the 286.
Which is crazy town back then.
Yeah.
So 40 meg of hard drive space. And I remember explicitly my father saying, we will never fill that up.
Right, yeah. That was the thought back then.
Yeah. And now I have how much on my phone? 16 gig?
Yeah, your phone
32 gig?
Your phone is like 3,000 286s.
So much storage on my phone that I don't even bother to remember what I have.
No, it doesn't.
Right?
Yeah.
So the idea to me of anyone saying, oh, what would you ever use that for, is laughable because, well, I've seen it happen.
Right.
I've seen the movie before.
Yeah. So the people who say that have no imagination.
Yeah.
So getting back, they did this study on dropping gigabit internet into an area and then what happens to prices. Well, lo and behold, the report found that the presence of gigabit service in a market resulted in a $27 per month decrease in the average monthly price of broadband service at speeds anywhere between 100 and less than a gig.
Sure.
So, I mean, okay, that's great.
Yeah.
So that's like that's essentially 25%, right? And it even said that the study predicted a price reduction between $13 and $18 per month for plans starting at 25 MIPS and up. So
it's ripples in a pond.
Exactly.
Right?
And they've already seen this where, Google Fiber enters a market and then, all their competitors who were pretty much...
Well, they all react.
They do. And like Comcast, how many times have Comcast... Oh, we can't do that. We can't do that speed. It's and then Google like even talks about going into an area and all of a sudden, affordable internet for everyone.
Yeah.
Boom. And it's...
Well, it's the same old story. So I don't even... personally, I don't even hold it against the Comcasts and so on when they do that. It's like the car salesman who says, oh, I got to go talk to my boss. He knows good and well what deals he can make and what deals he can't.
And you know what?
It's part of the dance. That's all.
And you know what? More power to them that they can do that. But the fact that they have such a stranglehold on areas.
Oh, yeah. That I have a problem with.
And then use the law to like shut down any competition. That's really where
Yeah, but where you and I differ, I think, is I blame the lawmakers.
Oh, I do too. No. I blame the law. I do blame I blame the lawmakers, but it's kind of a chicken or egg problem.
Yeah, like, okay, so do you mean that metaphorically, or do you mean like, would I egg their houses? Like, because if you're asking me, would I egg Comcast executive's house?
Well, the lawmakers made the
too
laws,
old now. I can't run fast.
They paid the lobby. And
yeah, no, I mean, I get it, right?
And they are. I mean, come on, they're so Machiavellian about it. They really are. I mean, you've seen some of the private stuff that like gets leaked, like the.
Yeah, I mean, like, you will never hear me come out and be like, yay, big cable.
Right.
That's never going to happen.
Well, no, because they'll get on there and I've actually heard the executives were saying, well, we just don't, we can't do that. Net neutrality is bad because we don't have the bandwidth to support it. And then they leaked that memo that were like, to their employees are like, it's not a bandwidth problem at all. We have plenty of bandwidth, but don't tell the customer that.
Yeah, and it's signed.
Right. Exactly. And then just the runaround on where there's been internal memos released where they kind of, if somebody wants to cancel service, you drop them in this queue. And that takes forever. You're on hold forever, and then you have to deal with the person that makes you jump through 15 hurdles to hit you with every deal before you cancel. It's just like just ridiculous business practices.
Yeah, and I totally get all that. I guess my big objection to like the whole dance, right, is that the legislature in general is they're too dumb or too crooked to know that it's a dance, right?
I'm not letting them off the hook.
That's all I'm saying.
I'm not letting them off the hook at all. If we had better people in there, this stuff wouldn't happen.
Right.
So, and I mean, you brought up the broad. So it's just another piece of evidence. Another piece of evidence that shows that free markets work if you allow it to be a free market. Yeah. So I mean, I really wanted to come up with a good segue here. Because I want to talk about, 'tis the season, Christmas is coming. There's some deals out there for cord cutters. So let me do. You know what needs internet?
What's that?
Streaming services.
Hey.
So I wanted to go over a couple of deals out there. I mean, they're calling them Christmas deals. I don't know if anyone's going to be getting people any of these deals for Christmas, but just use them yourself. I mean, because they're really solid. The first one is if you buy a new Roku player from Roku, if you go to Roku.com and you get a Roku player from them, then you get 2 months of Showtime, Hulu, and CBS All Access for free.
Wow.
That's really good.
Yeah.
That's a lot of content.
That really is.
Yeah, and it's 2 months and no commitment. So any Roku, if you go ahead and you buy the Roku device.
And we have an episode that outlines all of that.
Oh yeah, all the new Rokus. Yeah, because they put like 5 different models out.
Quite a few different flavors.
Yeah. And let me pull it up here real quick to make sure, let you guys know when this thing ends. I thought it was sometime in January. Yep. If you buy your device from them and you activate it by January 14th, 2017, then you can redeem that week. So up until the 21st of January. And yep, it's 2 months free of Showtime, Hulu, and CBS All Access. So that's like $55 of free content. I will say you don't get the commercial-free Hulu, which they just it's like 5 commercials now on their lower tier. I think it's because they've added this other tier.
Yeah, well, I mean, I still watch it. I mean, that's what I have.
I do. I am actually going to up myself to the commercial
Are you?
free. Yeah, I'm going to, because it's so much of a
What's the difference? It's like $8.
Yeah, for Hulu it's $7.99 a month.
Yeah, that's what
for limited commercials, which is now a boatload of commercials, because it's 5. Like before it was like 2 ads, and now it's like, then they upped it to 3.
Seconds, yeah.
Now it's like 5, and it's $11.99, and that gives you an ad-free experience. So, and I also wanted to say, CBS All Access, if you're having like antenna issues with CBS, you can get, with All Access, you can get your live local CBS affiliate in like 150 markets.
Oh, wow.
It's like all the major markets and a bunch of tiny markets too. It's like it's a lot. It's a lot of coverage. The only thing you don't get, I think, is the NFL. They black them out because of like ridiculous NFL licensing agreements.
Yeah, old licensing agreements.
Yeah, I think it's because Verizon holds the mobile streaming, so they can't.
And it counts as mobile stream. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, well, because you can have it on a mobile app.
Yeah.
So I think that's what it is. But they're working. They keep saying they're working it out with NFL. We'll see. Yeah. So Sling TV, we did a whole piece on them a while back on how to stream live cable online. Yeah. And if you buy 3 months of Sling TV, then you get 50% off the Roku Premiere. So you get a Roku Premiere, which is $99 value. That was the one where I said that was the value point right there, the Roku Premiere.
Yep.
Actually, I'm sorry, it's a Premiere Plus. You get that for like $50.
Wow.
It's a pretty solid deal. Or you can get a free Roku streaming stick.
Free.
One or the other. You get 50% off the Premiere Plus or a free Roku streaming stick. But you have to sign up for 3 months of Sling TV.
Huh.
So that's
I'm not sure which I'd pick there.
Yeah, it is. It's kind of a tough deal.
Yeah, both are good.
Yeah, solid. You can also get I think it's the 4th generation, the newest Apple TV. That's another deal they have. You sign up for 3 months and you get the new Apple TV for $89, which I think retails at $149.
That sounds right. I think you mentioned it previously. So.
Yeah. So it's usually $149, and so you can get that for $89 if you sign up for 3 months. And these deals are pretty much always running. They'll update them usually when the devices upgrade. They'll usually update.
Right.
Yeah, and that'll work with either the Sling Blue or the Sling Orange package. I mean, you'd have to listen to that podcast that we did on Sling TV to understand what I'm talking about there. But it's basically you get one set of channels with one package, another set of channels with another. Check out sling.com, and I'll put the deal page links in the show notes, and you'll get a feel for it. But I mean, if you listen to the
episode,
the other episode we did, then
we walked through it, and
all the mysteries will be revealed. So that music means it's time for me to say, this is Dennis Restaro,
and this is Joel Reeves,
and we will see you next time. Thanks for listening, everybody. You won't hear from us till after the holiday, so I wanted to wish everybody out there a Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Solstice, Festivus. If you're English, don't have a Merry Christmas. You guys have Happy Christmases, not Merry ones. If you're enjoying the show on iTunes, make sure you subscribe, because that's how iTunes ranks their shows, and we'll go up the rankings, more people will listen, and we'll be guaranteed to make more shows if that's happening. If you want to give us a 5-star review in iTunes, that'd be great too, because who doesn't love reviews? Come on. If you have questions or comments, follow us on Twitter, handles @Grounded Reason. You can send us an email. The email address is podcast@groundedreason.com, or you can hit us up on the Facebook page. The links, as usual, will be in the show notes. We'll see you next time. Have a happy holiday, everybody.